Yo, happy Juneteenth and welcome to the Foundation highlighting Jackson State University, streaming exclusively on BlackStream Live. I'm your host, Cortez Bryant. The Foundation is a series that celebrates HBCU life and culture. Listen, for more than 150 years, historically black colleges and universities have provided diverse learning environments that ensure every student has a chance to succeed, y'all. This season, I'll be exploring several HBCUs across the country, starting out with the premiere episode featuring my alma mater, Jackson State University. Today, we're streaming on Juneteenth. Listen, a holiday that commemorates the emancipation of those who have been enslaved in the United States on June 19, 1865. However, emancipation didn't happen overnight for everyone. In some cases, enslavers withheld information until after harvest season in an act of blatant exploitation. So the slaves really didn't find out all at the same time. This is not unlike the massive tuition costs and subsequent debt students incur at traditional colleges. HBCU tuition, on the other hand, averages almost 30% less than comparable institutions. Listen, we're here for our people. Today, there are more than 100 HBCUs throughout the country, 3 of which even founded prior to Juneteenth. Those schools were Wilberforce, Cheney, and Lincoln. Now, like I said, on this important day, we'll be focusing on my alma mater, the illustrious Jackson State University. Over this, we're going to take like 4 detailed, specific parts of the JSU culture to study today. One is the band, which includes the renowned Sonic Boom in the South, the music, performance, and industry programs within the Jackson State University, and the athletics program is one of the top HBCU programs in the country, and a state-of-the-art innovation center, a place where students and faculty can hone their skills for the future. This series is powered by Windows and Intel Evo. They're supporting the community and its HBCU programs to amplify HBCU culture. I have my Windows PC right here. I'm gonna be tapping into all the comments, reading. I see my cousin is here early, and a couple other folks representing JSU. Now, as an alum, I can personally attest to the top shelf quality of JSU programs and facilities. JSU is plotted on 200 acres of picturesque landscape. Jackson State offers over 90 student clubs and organizations in addition to a plethora of sports programs. Getting involved in JSU culture can only amplify and experience as the experience represents the best of Southern hospitality. Whether you're looking to check out some extracurricular activities on campus, artistic events, sporting events, volunteering opportunities, or even to grab a bite to eat at our residential hall, you'll quickly find that JSU has a lot to offer, all summa cum laude. Y'all take a look. JSU, let's go. Students and alumni of JSU have been known to fall in love with the sounds of JSU. And that sound is none other than the Sonic Boom of the South. The Sonic Boom of the South is JSU's marching band and is composed of young musicians committed to becoming the best in all things band and pageantry. Accepting only the best of the best, the Sonic Boom displays excellence in every show. You can trust me on that part because I used to be a member. It wasn't an easy job, but overall, it was very informative. The experience was great, and it helped shape me to be the man I am today. Yes, Lord. Hey, the Sonic Boom right there. Listen, there's no better person to speak about all the things Sonic Boom than Dr. Roderick Little, JSU's Director of Bands. Dr. Little, welcome to the show, brother.
Cortez, good to see you as always. It's always a super pleasure to fellowship with you.
Man, yeah, I'm glad to have you, brother, on this first episode of the Foundation. For the viewers, listen, who might not be familiar with HBCU band culture and what we do in the Boom and all across HBCUs, how would you describe its significance?
Well, the HBCU band culture is really typically a way for life, a way of life rather, for our students and also our staff. I mean, we work hard, very hard rather, at what we do. When I say it's a way of life, of course, students, we want to make sure that they're growing as adults. I mean, that's our top priority. And not only that, we have a unique student life at Jackson State University, not just for band, but also students in our band program participating in Divine Nine, hot spots games, homecoming, which is very important as well. And we provide opportunities for students to travel. And our band staff here at Jackson State, we have a vested interest in making sure that our students are successful. And so again, the band culture is vast and varied, but however, our primary goal is to make sure that our students are overall successful. Of course, it's an educational attainment to the underserved. I heard you mentioning that in your opening statement. I mean, we provide scholarships to students to attend college, by way of using the extracurricular activity to get themselves through college and be successful. And we also perform on a national scale, and we typically get asked to do a lot of national performances, which is very important for HBCU band programs. And of course, the HBCU football games are just second to none, and the Sonic Boom of the South is always a part of that particular experience. If you have not experienced a football game at Jackson State University, I will invite you to do so this fall.
Facts.
And last but certainly not least, we're overlooked and we're underfunded. So we definitely need people to fund what we have going on in our program.
Absolutely, man. I know, and I'm speaking. I'm speaking on this the subject of the Boom like I wasn't in it, but I'm trying to let the world get that deep dive into all the great things that we have a part of our program, brother. So what would you say? Out of all the HBCUs and the great bands across the spectrum, separates the Sonic Boom and what makes the Sonic Boom special specifically?
Well, I mean, to your point, we have a myriad of great HBCU band programs, but there's none other like the Sonic Boom of the South. I mean, our musicianship and showmanship is unmatched. I mean, the energy, you're not going to find it in any other band programs other than Jackson State University. And of course, we've done many notable performances in the past, but however, just this past year during COVID, we participated in President Biden's and Vice President Kamala Harris virtual inauguration. We also had a segment on the YouTube homecoming celebration, and also we were featured on NBA TV. So again, we do a lot of national performances. And last but not least, I think something that's very important to the Sonic Boom of the South is that we have notable alumni. Such as yourself, Cortez. We have Mara Hall, who is a notable actress. She's doing a wonderful job. We have Chris C.J. Gibson, who has affiliate with Drake. And we have Deshaun Goncalves. He's not an alumni yet, but he will be. He was featured on American Idol this year. So we have some wonderful people that come out of our band program.
Absolutely. Yeah, Deshaun's amazing. Speaking of, he's going to be on after you today. So I had to call him up to try to celebrate him, all the things that he has going on and what we have planned for the future, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But let me jump into, we definitely have been built off a rich tradition. I was in a band 20-something years ago, and Dr. Little here is keeping that tradition alive, adding on to it and making it great. I want to take the viewers back to kind of the history of where these bands, especially specifically the Sonic Boom, where it started, when it was founded, and kind of give the audience the history of kind of the origins of the Boom.
Well, the Sonic Boom started way back in the 1920s, and technically speaking, it was more so of an orchestral ensemble within the music department. They were just getting started in the 1920s, as I mentioned, by a gentleman named Kermit Holly Sr. And then later on, we had our first full-time director of bands by the name of William W. Davis, who was a jazz trumpeter. He played for Cab Calloway's band, and he actually wrote a lot for that band as well. Wrote a lot of charts for that band. And by him being a jazz musician, of course, he brought that genre to the marching band at Jackson State University, and it was affectionately known as the small band with the big band sound. And so he was very instrumental in starting the band program. And you fast forward to 1970s to Mr. Harold Halton, who is basically the architect of the Sonic Boom of the South that we know of it to be today. He implemented the Tiger Run-On, the floating JSU, the intricate drilling that the Sonic Boom of the South typically does, and he was also around to impart or implement rather the prancing J sets, who are the thrill of the billion eyes. And so, of course, we've had some directors that come along after Harold Halton, such as Dow Taylor, Lewis Liddell, O'Neill Sanford, and now I'm at the helm as director of band. So that's just kind of like a quick snapshot of our history.
Amazing, man. And you spoke on something just now. You spoke about those J sets celebrating 50 years of their organization being around. Can you tell us a little bit about the J sets for those who don't know?
Well, the J sets, again, as I mentioned, they are called the thrill of a billion eyes. They are one of the first units that you see, when you see the Sonic Boom of the South marching to the stadium, and our young ladies are just phenomenal. And not just to speak to our young ladies, which I'll get back to in a second, but, their style is very highly known and revered, to where a lot of people actually incorporate those styles to be a part of TV shows and things like that. And so the J setting style is just second to none. But just to speak to our young ladies, the group is under the leadership of Chloe Crowley, and she does a phenomenal job with the Prancing J Set organization. And I would like to boast that our average GPA with the J Set organization is 3.0. So not only are our students great dancers and they entertain with the best of them, they're also academically astute. So that's very important as well. But just a brief history about them. Back in 1970s, they were a majorette group, which means that they tore up batons. And in the 1970s, you had the director at that time, who was Shirley Blakely. She went to the president along with the director of bands, and she asked, could they put down the batons and dance on a full-time basis? And so that's how they kind of got their start way back in the 1970s. And then, as you mentioned, we're coming up on the 50th anniversary this year.
Wow, that's amazing, man. And listen, he didn't mention it. He didn't mention some of the people who borrowed or inspired by the J sets, but Sierra, Beyonce, they all have those J set moves. I've seen it with my own eyes in the music business. Going to a show, I was like, wait, that looks familiar, and the origins is right there at the I Love from the Sonic Boom into the J sets, man. So happy 50th to those ladies. I'm gonna move along. The audience here, I want them to make sure that I want to handle this in this show to make sure I'm talking to the person who may not know nothing about HBCUs or may have not seen the game or know nothing about marching band, right? We had a couple clips with the Boom playing Bruno Mars and playing Bruno Mars in the previous clip, but can you tell the world, sort of the type of things and the type of music that the band loves to play?
Well, one thing that I think a lot of people don't know about HBCUs is that, overall, we are a musical unit. And what that means is that we are very eclectic in regards to the playlist and the things that we play. So, of course, I think people know us for playing R&B and rap, rock. We even play rock. We play soul, we play funk. So just about a little bit of everything. But again, I think people don't realize that we play the standards as well. And when I say standards, I'm talking about those marches. And the marches are typically standard pieces that was actually written strictly for marching bands. Of course, you have a composer by the name of John Philip Sousa, who was instrumental for writing a lot of those pieces that we play. So again, the Sonic Boom of the South, we don't place ourselves in a box or limit ourselves as musicians. Again, when people see our unit, typically the crowd that we play for, we play things that they typically would like to hear, but we make sure that our students are well-rounded musicians. So we play things, again, from marches all the way to what you hear on the radio today.
That's crazy. So that's intense. So Lee, that kind of piggybacks me to this question. So what does it take for a person who wants to be in the boom? What's the process of auditioning look like? Because that's a lot of things that, they have to come with for a skill set in order, to know how to do.
Absolutely. I talked to you about the pedigree and the tutelage of our band program in regards to the historical background. And so that didn't happen overnight. And so we have to make sure that we keep that going by having students that can approach their instrument correctly and are well-rounded musicians. So just technically speaking, what students will have to do is they will have to audition for us. And that typically happens during the spring semester, and they play their scales, they play a prepared piece, and they also sight read for us. But one thing that I want to make sure that all potential students that may be watching this, that are looking at coming into the Sonic Boom of the South, we want to make sure that you're teachable, and we want to make sure that you have high character as well, because at the end of the day, our job is to make sure that we're growing you as a student, growing you as a person, while using the vehicle as music as a conduit for that. So again, it's very competitive. Again, we have to make sure that we keep that pedigree of the Sonic Boom of the South up. We want to make sure that we keep that standard up. And so that's what students typically do to get in our band program.
That's amazing, man. Listen, students out there, you heard it directly from Dr. Little's mouth, what y'all have to do if you want to be a part of the band. Donors out there, these HBCU programs need support. Please support these schools so we can continue doing the great things they're doing, creating these young men and getting them ready, and women, and getting them ready for the world. And the last thing, this series is powered by Windows and Intel. They want me to ask you, Dr. Little, what about JSU's community and culture inspires you?
Oh, wow, man. Well, first and foremost, I want to start off by saying just the people at Jackson State University. Under the leadership of our president, Thomas Hudson, he has a vision for the university in regards to moving it forward. And without vision, basically you remain stagnant. So just the overall people and what we do to move our institution forward. Also, one thing that's very important as well that really makes me feel blessed to be a part of Jackson State University is the evolution of not just Jackson State, but all HBCU. Of course, we have, it's not necessarily a new hire, but I'll call it a new hire for those who may be unfamiliar, the new hire of Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. He has brought a lot of eyes and attention and has garnered a lot of success during his 10-year football coach at Jackson State University. So just being a part of that is very important as well. And it's also an outstanding academic institution. It teaches you resilience, perseverance, and again, you have to make sure that you have tough skin as well as you navigate through the walls of Jackson State University. And last but not least, I would like to say that the important thing for Jackson State for me is love, man, because I actually met my wife here at Jackson State University. And I love Jackson State. So again, those are all of the things that come to my mind primarily that really sets Jackson State apart from any other institution in this nation.
That's amazing, brother. Listen, thank you for joining us on the show today. You have a happy Father's Day and happy Juneteenth weekend, brother.
Same to you, man. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. All right, man. Sonic Boom in the South. My Sonic Boom in the South. Next up, we're going to switch over. We'll talk a little bit about the athletic programs. Listen, Jackson State has a deep-rooted history in sports. We have 16 programs and more than 50 SWAC championships. And that crosses from football to men's and women's basketball, volleyball, baseball, golf, tennis, and bowling. The Division I university is an athlete's dream here. The athletic programs at JSU have produced several Hall of Famers, such as Lynn Barney, Robert Bazile, Walter Payton, Jackie Slater. Listen, it's the most Hall of Famers, NFL Hall of Famers produced in any other Mississippi Institute. Mark that. And still today, we still got some other serious names off the field that's, leading these athletes, like athletic director Ashley Robinson, JSU women's basketball coach Tamika Reed, and two-time Super Bowl champion and Hall of Famer Deion Primetime Sanders as JSU's head football coach. Let's take a look at the type of work they're doing, putting in over at athletics. Man. Here we are at the I Love. Listen, I want to specifically highlight this man right here. You know, we see all the success that's coming with Deion Sanders, and that's kind of been the spotlight of everything that's going on. But I wanted the world to know the man behind everything, behind the scenes, you know, that's really pulling it together, not only for football, but for everything else. So everybody welcome our at the Jackson State University Athletic Director, Mr. Ashley Robinson. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm great, man. I'm great. It's excited, man. You know, all the things that you've done to turn this program around. The spirit of the alumni, it's there, man, and we're happy to have you aboard. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. Ask you these things. I want to, you know, ask you about the program for the world. So, you know, for the world, since they don't know. So what do you think is the culture around athletics around campus right now?
I think the culture has really changed. Me coming in 2018, we needed a culture change. I think our coaches and our student athletes have done a really good job. University leadership, all the perception that people have of HBCUs, we're looking to change that perception. Jackson State has a rich tradition, so it has culture. But we have to, you know, my thing is to blaze on building on tradition and blaze new trails. And we definitely have the tradition, but we want to blaze some new trails here at Jackson State. So changing that culture, changing the mindsets of how we think and how we do business on a day-to-day operations, looking to grow our programs, looking to support our coaches and our student athletes, giving them what they need to be successful, but also for the student, making this the best experience, the best 4 or 5 years of their life.
So, I mean, everybody knows, the world knows about Prime, right? You know, they know about your move, about Prime Time and getting Prime here as our head football coach, and that's been across all the headlines, right? But I tell a lot of other people, we have a lot of other programs that's doing great. You know what I'm saying? Like Ashley hasn't only built up, you know, this point to guide this football to this to another level. He's planted seeds in other places, you know, that might go overlooked. So can you tell me about some of those other programs that you have that's doing great?
You know, our goal is to make sure that all 16 programs are very competitive. Top 3 in the conference, winning championships, carrying on that tradition that Jackson State has. We have a lot of tradition in other sports too. We want to, you know, we tell our student athletes when they come here, we want you to leave here with a championship, and we want you to leave here with a degree. Those are the 2 things that's very important to us, and that degree deal is very important.
Absolutely.
But we have some really good coaches and good programs. You know, you look at our baseball program, Coach Johnson, you know, undefeated. Regular season.
There we go.
Champion. You know, Coach Johnson has been consistent across the board. He's won over 30 games the last 6 or 7 years.
There we go.
So you talk about the tradition in baseball. The great Bob Brady built this tradition here in baseball. We have a lot of tradition in baseball, and that sport, I'm very excited about that sport. You know, men's and women's basketball. Done a really good job. Coach Reed has came in and really changed. You talk about culture change. She's changed the whole culture here in women's basketball. She's brought those days back, those glory days back, and she's also building on that tradition and blazing new trails. First year, she goes to the SWAC championship game. Second year, she wins the conference. The pandemic starts. She comes the third year, wins the conference regular season, and goes to the NCAA tournament. So that shows the competitors that we have with women's basketball.
Man, he said it right there. Building off tradition and building new trails and new blazing trails at that. JSU sports, listen, we're top tier across the board. And one of the standout coaches who he just was speaking to has the honor to come on my show and speak to me today. That is Coach Tamika Reed, JSU's women's basketball coach. Welcome, Coach Reed.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I slid on her live like last week. Like, you got to come on my show so I could talk to you. How's everything this weekend for you?
Everything is going good. I am extremely excited. I had an opportunity to attend Coach Prime's football camp yesterday, and it is just awesome.
The energy is great, right? That's
Yes.
amazing. Listen, this is 2 times. Let's get it right. Wait, I just want to pause because everything is about Coach Prime, his cap yesterday, which is great. That's But we're talking to, ladies and gentlemen, 2-time back-to-back SWAC champion coach of women's basketball right here. Listen, she's crowned. She's done her thing. So, Tamika, can you define the culture around athletics on campus right now?
Oh my goodness. Could you repeat that question?
No
for me?
problem. I got you. I said, can you define the culture around athletics on campus right now? You breaking up? She is breaking up. We are live. She's breaking up. You got me? Did you hear me?
Yeah, this internet is so unstable, but right now our athletics is extremely exciting. Oh my God.
Don't worry. It's all good. We here. We here. I got you.
Okay. Okay, I keep blanking out. It's exciting right now. I have to say, all the sports are really competing hard. When I took the job at Jackson State, it was my dream to bring Jackson State women's basketball back to #1. And that's what I said in my interview in front of the search committee. And I also talked about when I was assistant coach at Jackson State, we won together, all sports. And so I'm just extremely excited to see everybody competing. There's so much excitement around the program.
That's amazing. I see you shining that big old ring in my face. You saw that subtle flex just now. Wait, I just looked. It took up the whole screen. Look at the two of them. Look at the chain to where she was like, wait, hold up. Look at the chain. Don't just look at the ring. Okay. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I had Coach Reed on here, ladies and gentlemen, for the world to know. We got to put everybody on game. Let me continue these questions before I run out of time, man. So listen. You've reached this level of success in a short period of time. And for most of us, especially including some of the JSU alumni, it just happened out of anywhere. But can you tell them your journey and how you got to the point where you've gotten to just in your career as a coach?
Well, I #1 keep God first. This journey has not been easy. Everybody see the wins, they see the celebration, but they don't understand what we went through to get to this point. And so, changing the culture is not easy. Setting the foundation is not easy. And that's something that we really worked hard on my first year, my staff and I. My staff is phenomenal, great recruiters. And we just work really good together. So that's been really important for me and establishing a championship program and also just building relationships with my team, building relationships in the community. So that's all been very important to me.
That's support. Working together, man. Teamwork. Definitely hear that. So during that time, so what are some of the, if there's any that you could pick a couple from, since you've had so many probably, what are some of the highlights from your coaching experience so far at JSU?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. This internet, it was
It's all
working.
good. She got the Teddy Riley internet right now. It's all. Oh, I talked to Teddy last week. Teddy, I hope you ain't watching this because I just met him for the first time ever. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Okay, let's try it again.
I was just trying to figure. No, I was just talking about. You've done all these great things. Just throwing some of the highlights for you at JSU during your coaching tenure.
The highlights for me, wouldn't necessarily be the highlights for y'all. The highlights for me were the bad points that really made us stronger.
Oh wow!
And I love to talk about it because I want people to understand that although we are winning, it's not easy. And and our band director said, we're just under supported, and people just kind of take it for granted. But, it's a lot of work that go into it. But I will say getting to the championship game in my first year was huge. Although we didn't win, we lost by 4. We were a team that I didn't recruit any player that played. I came in and took the team that was previously there. They had finished sixth the year before.
Wow.
We went all the way to the championship game with the
Talk
exact
dirty.
same team.
I hear you. I hear you. I
Yeah,
hear
so
you.
that right there was an amazing feeling, and that you can't show me, you can't tell me what my God can't do. So
Amazing.
that was a true testimony. We started the SWAC off 0-5 and ended up in the
Wow.
championship game. So that was huge for us.
That,
And then the championship year 2, year 3, it's always a great feeling to win championships.
yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with you that, learning from adversity is some of the best way you can learn, and learning from, and seeing how you can overcome it to better yourself. So I'm happy you gave that point of view, because it's definitely something I firmly believe in. I mentioned earlier in the show that we have some iconic Hall of Famers on the football side that came through JSU. Talk to me about some of the rising stars that you have on the court and court today, and has the past year of COVID really affected the way you've had to train and continue to stay connected as a team?
Yeah, I'll start with the COVID part first.
Okay.
With COVID, I saw a lot of our players mentally become disturbed. We lost a lot of our players on the floor. We lost a lot of our players in the classroom. It was just a really tough year for us. A lot of our players experienced having COVID-19, and some didn't, but they still mentally went through that stage of anxiety and depression. So for my staff and I, we had to really focus on keeping them sane and keeping them together and keeping the vision at the forefront of what we're trying to accomplish. But we have players who were extremely good for us this past year. Amisha Williams, our 6'4" post player that transferred from Mississippi State. Deja Rogan from North Mississippi. She was our SWAC player of the year.
Yep.
And Keshana Luckett, who's right here from Jackson, Mississippi at Lanier High School. They helped carry the team, and I'm just extremely proud of them. And we'll have all three of them back next year.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So also coming in, we have the number 12 point guard in the country, the best recruit, the highest recruit in HBCU for women's basketball has ever signed. And I'm extremely happy that we were able to make history.
That's in women's HBCU history, women's basketball, the highest recruit ever?
That's
Look at you, Coach Reed. Go ahead on, girl. I see. All right, go ahead. I'm excited.
Yeah, Sequoia Allman from Memphis. We're excited about her. Our staff did a great job in reeling her in. That's our motto, reeling in. And we also have a lot of great talent we signed right here from Mississippi. We signed the number 1, the number 2, the number 4, and the number 5 player in the state. We beat out teams such as Ole Miss, Southern Miss, Mississippi State, Kentucky, Kansas. We signed a really good team. And, on top of that, we also signed a deaf player from the Mississippi School of Deaf and Blind.
No way.
So, yeah, and she made history at her school as being the first Division I signee in history. So we're excited about this recruiting class.
In history ever, that's amazing.
Yes.
Look at Coach Reed, man. Gosh, boy, I didn't even know that one. That one didn't come. But listen, I'm excited. It sounds like we have another championship team coming. Hopefully, knock on wood. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying, you being here. I got one more question for you. Windows and Intel has been supporting HBCU culture and history, and they're kind of supporting this show. And they wanted to know, what about Jackson State's community and culture inspires you?
Well, the tradition of it, everything that has transpired in our community and our culture, the good, the bad, the shootings, the deaths, all of that made us, to still have buildings on campus that shows that history, that culture of it. That's extremely inspiring to me as a coach, because you want to continue to build great things on those traditions. And again, you use what we went through, use our struggles to help curve and carve out our great future. So, just the tradition that Jackson State is filled with, the band, the sports winning, the NFL players, our pro athletes. That's something that we want to continue to build on. And it's just truly inspiring to me and my program.
Man, that's amazing. Well said. Listen, Coach Reed, two-time champion, swag champions, the bling all over the camera showing it. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Foundation. You have a great weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Listen, now that was amazing. She said something real strong at the end of that statement. Listen, HBCUs were born and bred out of opportunities for the black community when there weren't any opportunities, you know. So one of the first things that you learn when you step on these campuses is that you're sitting on the shoulders of your ancestors that sacrificed a lot to get to these schools to where they are. So it's definitely a lot of purpose as soon as you step on a HBCU campus as students. So now, I wouldn't be the man I am today if I hadn't attended Jackson State. That being said, my time at JSU gave me the distinction to maintain a successful career in the music business. However, I've always had a passion for teaching, believe it or not. And if I wouldn't have returned to Jackson State as a professor just recently, I probably would have tried to do it years ago, you know, but I'm here now. And luckily I found my way to do both my music career now and teach a careers in music course that I've been instructing at JSU over this past year. You know, in that course, I kind of teach the ins and outs of the careers in music and around music business. Anyone that's interested who wants to learn anything about the experiences of music, you know, I welcome them to that class. But it's not just me. The music department as a whole is groundbreaking and is committed to opening the doors for young creatives and budding executives. Today, Dr. Little was talking about him earlier on the show. I'm welcoming Deshaun Goncalves, a current JSU student and a season 19 American Idol contestant, top 10, to talk about the school's commitment to music education. But first, let's take a look at his audition from American Idol.
I am Deshaun Goncalves. I'm 19 years old, and I attend the Jackson State University.
Are you loving Jackson State?
Yes, I am. I'm a member of the marching band there. Everything must change, and nothing remains the same. Everyone will change. No one remains unchanged. And there are so few things in life you can be sure of. Except that rain comes from the clouds, the sunlight from the sky, yeah, and hummingbirds do fly.
That boy good. Sexual chocolate. Hey, man, Deshaun, man, that was incredible. Listen, there he was. Welcome to the show, Deshaun Goncalves. What's up, brother?
Not too much. How are you, brother?
What's happening?
Not too
Welcome.
much.
I appreciate you coming, you know, talk to the little people right here after you just been on the
No
big
problem.
tube.
No problem. No problem.
Nah, man.
Gotta stay true to where I come from, man.
Yeah, you did great on the show too, man. I really enjoyed seeing everything that you was doing. I want you on the show because I want to have the viewers have kind of a student perspective on everything that we got going on at JSU. And, you know, although you've had all this success, I just want to know firsthand from a student perspective, you know, for all the ones that's out there that may want to go to the HBCU or Jackson State specifically, you know, kind of piggyback on your story. So let the world know kind of where you're from and what was it like growing up in your household.
All right, perfect. So I am from Youngstown, Ohio. My parents were really young when I was born, so they didn't really know how to be parents. So we struggled a lot. So coming up, my father kind of got mixed up into the street life. So he went away for a while. He was in prison for a while. So it was just me and my mom. My mother worked really hard to make sure that we had the things that we had. And she did a wonderful job. Then my father came back into my life, and then I began to prosper because when he was away, I began to fail in school. My behavior was inferior. But when he came back into my life, I did a total 360. I began to get straight A's. I found music, and I just really began to prosper. And then I found Jackson State University, and here we are today.
You found music,
Yes.
and it inspired you to continue that education at Jackson State. What did that look like? What was the first instrument you picked up, and how was your pathway to coming? I know you played tuba in the band at Jackson State, so how did that start when you found that music and got all the way to Jackson State?
All right, so my musical journey started in the church. My grandmother, she was a choir director, so I was always in church. But as I grew older, in the 6th grade, I picked up the trumpet. So it's like, okay. Then I noticed that I could do things that other kids couldn't quite do yet. So I kind of realized then that I had some sort of gift. So as time went on, I began to pick up more instruments, and then I began to play the piano and sing. So when I got to the 8th grade, I picked up the cymbals, which was pretty different for me at that time. But I began to play percussion, yeah, all of that. And then once I got to high school, I began to march in the marching band. And then I discovered Jackson State and decided to move to the South. And when I tell you I was mesmerized and I would just watch the videos all the time, whenever I had free time, I was watching Jackson State's videos. So that's when I really knew that I wanted to go to Jackson State.
Wait, bro. You said trumpet, piano, cymbals, and marching band, but you went to Jackson State on a scholarship playing tuba. Wait. Did I miss something?
It's a story. So in the 10th grade, I was preparing for a football game, Friday night football game, and our tuba player in the band didn't show up. So my band director knew that I was the only one who's capable of playing other instruments. So he was like, you know what, son? I know you don't want to, but I need you to know it's tuba. And I ain't looked back since.
That's amazing, bro. Hey, that's amazing. That boy's talented, man. All his instruments, and he could sing. S-A-N-G. So let's now we're at Jackson State. Let me know sort of your experience as a student these last couple years that you've been there in the music department.
Oh man, it's been amazing. So going into Jackson State, I had already been pretty endowed into my craft and musically and everything. But once I got to Jackson State, I was critiqued on a level that I really didn't expect, and it made me so much better. So just being surrounded by individuals who are deep into music the way that I am, it helped tremendously because I could relate to them. I could have certain conversations that I couldn't have before. So that just made me better all around, as a young man and a musician.
That's amazing. So that experience as a student really helped you commit and create other opportunities to help this journey, this American Idol today. So did you see things that were you able to implement, what you just said, some of those things in the music department that helped you out when you got to this show?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of it. My vocal coach, Loretta Galbraith, she would tell me things like we have to pay attention to the small details of your voice. Like you just don't go out there just throwing notes out there and doing those type of things, but to really pay attention to what you are doing and to be intricate about what you are putting out to the world. So that was a major takeaway. That's
amazing, bro. So earlier I talked to Dr. Little about, some about the boom and and all the different rigorous ways that it took to kind of be in the program in itself. What are some of the biggest fundamental things that you've learned by marching in the band?
Ooh, hard work, perseverance. It's not easy being a member of the boom. Greatness does not come easy. Time management was a huge thing because you have your academics going on, you got marching band, you got your personal life, you got your family back home, so really just taught me how to balance all of those things all together. You know, it takes a lot.
That's amazing, brother. I definitely, it's still the same. 25 years ago, I definitely had that same experience. So, tell us one of the highlights of American Idol. Let's switch back to tell us one of the highlights of American Idol that you could remember off the show.
Man, there's so many. But the first one of the major ones would be just sharing my gift with the world, like getting on TV in front of millions of people and just showing them who I am and what I do. And then the second one would be singing with the Shaka Khan.
Shaka, yes. Yeah.
Shaka Khan.
You was singing that sweet
that's
thing.
Yeah. She's awesome.
That's amazing, man. So it's Black Music Month. If you may not know that, you may know that. The world is Black Music Month. Who are some of your inspirations and favorite artists of all time?
All right, so Nina Simone is my favorite artist of all time.
Who? Oh, Nina. Oh, yeah.
Nina Simone,
yeah, absolutely.
So she embodies what true artistry is in my eyes.
Amazing.
Another one would be Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
And Donny Hathaway.
That's amazing. That's dope. Oh, that's soulful, boy. You got an old soul there.
I do.
You young with old. Donny Hathaway, Aretha Franklin, and Nina Simone. Like, you wasn't born 2 times when they were singing. So look, man, this show being powered by Windows and Intel, and especially a great question for you. They were wanting to know, what about JSU's community and culture inspires you? And this is going to be dope because this is coming from a student on campus right now. So what inspires you right now being a current student?
What inspires me is the unity of being surrounded by so many people who just want to help you get ahead and to become great. And it's a feeling that I've never had before. Like being on campus, being around everyone, it's a beautiful thing. Everyone's just so friendly, that Southern hospitality, the love, passion behind everything that takes place at Jackson State University. There's just so much to take away, so much to learn from so many different perspective areas. So yeah, that's it.
Absolutely, brother. Listen, I appreciate you. Before I let you go, I want to let the world knows that we've been doing this interview, but he actually just left Atlanta and we recorded his first song together. So he'll be coming back here, and look forward to me working with Deshaun and put together his first project. I'm excited about that.
Yes.
So
and I wait.
Thank you for coming on, bro, and I'll see you soon.
No problem, brother. See you soon.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was great. I'm looking forward to Deshaun. He's a great talent. And he said something at the end of his segment about stepping on that yard, what inspires him culturally. That's sort of not only at Jackson State, but a lot of HBCUs. When you come to an HBCU, you get that home away from home feeling. You get educators and teachers that know you and familiar with how you learn and create that environment to help you strive. It's one of the things that separates HBCUs from everyone else. And during that matriculation into your education, there are countless of majors out there, but everyone goes to school for essentially the same reason, to prepare for the future. While there's no way to know exactly what the future will bring, JSU's state-of-the-art innovation center combines education, research, and entrepreneurship in a single location that could turn out inventions to power the economy and everyday life. This new facility on our campus is for students, faculty, and staff, and it provides access to virtual experiences, including with Oculus VR technology and 3D printing to develop whatever they imagine. Check this out.
Hello, I am Deja Davis, a senior business marketing major from Belleville, Illinois, and I serve as the 81st Miss Jackson State University. Today, I'd like to show you our campus library. The HT Sampson Library offers computer labs. We proudly serve Starbucks, a new virtual lab, student lounges, academic advisement center, and a research room for the visually impaired. Student athletes can enjoy the newly opened Tiger Center, which includes a computer lab and a study area. The Center for Innovation provides access to virtual reality experiences with Oculus VR technology and 3D printing to develop whatever you can imagine. One of our JSU students, Lamonte Pierce, used a 3D printer at Jackson State University to develop his innovative patented clean straw, which has caught the attention of investors and distributors.
Man, that's amazing. That's already, that innovation lab is making change for these students that's on campus. You know, a student came in and created a whole invention just using that 3D printer that's part of the lab. Speaking of innovation, let's not forget that this series is powered by Windows and Intel. They've been leading the way in technology since their inception, and I'm happy that they're here celebrating HBCUs with us. When I went back to JSU, I caught up with Dr. Joseph A. Whitaker, Vice President for Research and Economic Development, and Dr. Elmisha L. Campbell, Assistant Vice President for Research and Economic Development. They're the ones who spearheaded this whole innovation lab, and here's what they had to say. So what about the Jackson State culture here inspires you guys?
For me, it's primarily the students. I look at them when they come in with the curiosity and the excitement that they have about being in college and, you know, the potential to learn all these new things. And I see them as these little blank slates that we could influence and get them to start thinking differently and, you know, thinking about how they can just change the world to whatever they can imagine or create. And so that's my inspiration, to watch them come in as these young people who are just thinking and curious about everything, and then watch them coming out on the back end as these very refined adults going into the work world and ready to do amazing things.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You, Dr. Campbell?
Yeah, for me, I would say our students as well, definitely hands down one of the top inspirational pieces for me being here at Jackson State. But then I also think about the junior faculty. So they come in, they wet behind the ears, they're excited about tenure and promotion, they want to know what they can do to make sure they're on track, right? So I get an opportunity to infuse biasly some of the things that I think they should be working on, like innovation and entrepreneurship. So we work with them about patents, copyright, trademarks, and then startups and all of that stuff. And they usually are the most productive in that area. But the other thing about the culture here that I like, it feels like family, because you're so close-knit, you know, around people. Of course, you're gonna have your one or two that may not want to be family, and that happens anyway. Yeah, but it does feel, and if the campus feels like a home away from home, and even though we're in the middle of the city, sometimes you feel like you're in your own city, working, operating, being able to change things, and that you're in an environment where you can actually do something and make some change.
Listen, I was on campus a couple weeks ago, and I saw something that blew my mind that I thought the world should see. You know, I took a visit here and I met with Dr. Whitaker, who we have here, sitting to my foreright, and Dr. Campbell. And what they've created on this campus is amazing. We're about to talk about Jackson State's Innovation Lab. Thank you guys for being here. So, could you tell me a little bit about what the Innovation Lab is, either one of you guys?
Well, we call this a Center for Innovation. This was one of my brainchild. I think when I first made the decision to come to Jackson State, I told the president that, you know, we need a space where we can allow students and faculty to freely interface and interact and be creative, just think freely and, you know, express their ideas and thoughts and creativity. And so the idea of this was born then. And probably a year into my tenure here, we established this center.
You know, as it's grown out, first of all, it's incredible, you know, just to have that that vision to bring something like that to an HBCU. Do you know if that existed at any other HBCU around the country?
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, not to this fashion, and we've had different universities come in and take a tour and ask us how we can help them stand up something similar. Of course, they said we didn't have the space, we didn't have the resources. We told them, hey, this entire place was bootstrapped. The idea, to make sure that we are building an entrepreneurial mindset on the campus, and we allowing faculty and students to come in and just play around with whatever we have and figure out how they can incorporate some of the technologies in the classes. So I think we've had 2 universities so far that has implemented some aspect of what we started by visiting here.
That's amazing. I tell people all the time, like, technology is in everything now, right? Everything we do, every single industry. So for you guys to build this on Jackson State's campus in the center of innovation, for all different disciplines, right? It's some type of way that they could be implemented in. So what do you guys have so far that's included that, the student or the faculty member could find inside of the Center for Innovation?
Okay, so the first thing we did was create an Innovation Fellows program. So we took on 10 students from different disciplines. We work with them, we mentor them, we train them on the equipment, and we give them authority to lead classes that they want to learn how to teach certain things in here. And so they began working together, and that peer mentoring organically happened. So you have the computer science working with the marketing, working with the journalism students, and learning different things. They're developing apps together, they're creating websites together, designs together. So seeing that happen, then they take that back to the classroom. And so those innovation fellows are now our change agents who are going to the classroom and telling their faculty, we need to incorporate BI in the classroom. We need to incorporate 3D printing, 3D modeling into the classroom. So we let the student drive. So after we've done our custom discovery and realized what the students needed, we allow those students to be the change agents.
Yeah, and we see students who come in and never seen VR, never touched it. And to see the engineering and the computer science students actually working with students from non-science disciplines, actually getting them up to speed where they're actually learning to code and create things in virtual reality and doing programming and developing apps and things like that. It's amazing.
That is
kind of outcome, yeah.
That is amazing, and I think that is so important, especially for this generation who grew up in the technology age. They were born into the digital world, so that's incredible. I can remember my first experience with VR. I think I did a deal with Samsung, and it blew my mind. Like, I was like, wait, is this really happening? So, and I can't imagine what the technology has grown since then, because this was about 4 or 5 years ago when I first got introduced to the technology. So why do you guys think that VR is important for the future and for it being here for these kids?
Dr. Campbell will tell you that I talk about this all the time. If we look at HBCUs in general, we tend to get fixated on certain traditional disciplines and majors, right?
Absolutely.
And so we're not exploring, and we have these rigid kind of curriculum. We're trying to change the landscape.
Change the culture.
And so we're changing the dynamics where students are now coming in. When I went to school, I want to be a biology major, because I can do all of these things, right? A lot of these kids are coming with multiple interests. It's no longer, I'm just going to be a doctor here, I'm just going to be an electrical engineer there. Right. Even though I'm an electrical engineer, I want to be able to do all of these things. I want to work on materials and sensors and all these other things. Right? And so it's important that we create that environment for them to be able to do whatever they can think of.
That's amazing.
And just transition into the work world.
Where else can you go to get all this technology? One button recording.
The music students.
Record my podcast, record my presentations. Like, it's all set up in a way. Put a background on here. Like, listen, man, this is amazing. Yes! And that does it for the first episode of the Foundation. I think I spit on the camera. I'm sorry. Yes, listen, I got through it. My leg kind of shaked a little bit throughout the series, but we got through it. Highlighted Jackson State and everything that's great about my alma mater. Listen, be sure to tune in next time when we head to the East Coast to check out Florida A&M University, aka FAMU, July 3rd, 4th of July weekend, 2 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on BlackStream Live on Twitch. I won't twitch my legs. And of course, a special shout out and thanks to Windows and Intel Evo working together to create devices that are made to inspire, like this computer. I was reading all the comments. Have a good night. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. I'm out.